guys, Ellie here from Ellie King Fitness, and I'm here today with Nicole from realfoodrealfast.com.au. Hi Nicole, how are you?
I'm great, thanks Ellie. How are you today?
Yeah, really good. Thanks for coming along. So today we're going to have a bit of a chat about eating healthy. So Nicole's all about eating real food and it not being particularly stressful, cooking and making it easy to cook in the kitchen, right?
That's absolutely right. You don't want to make it stressful or it'll be too hard and then you'll go back to fall back into the convenience food trap. So, yeah, you want to make it nice and easy and simple and something that your whole family can eat and enjoy.
Yeah, that's really
important.
important.
What are you cooking 4 meals?
Yeah, I think a lot of people find that trying to cook real food can be really intimidating.
Yeah, I find that as well, like just because, a lot of people now have, I guess, grown up and they haven't necessarily had parents who have taught them how to cook, or they haven't had someone in their life that has shown them how to cook and how easy it can be to make real food ingredients taste really good. They've got a perception in their mind that real food or healthy food is really bland and it's really boring. And, I think part of that is that they haven't been taught, and part of it is also that a lot of the processed foods and things that we're exposed to, they do have ingredients in them that are deliberately there to make you addicted to them, that are not very healthy for you. And, the food companies, they're very smart, and they do that on purpose. So, yeah, so it's important to become aware of that. And once you start to eat real things that taste good, your taste buds do change. You learn to really enjoy them.
Yeah, definitely. So for someone who's starting out, where would they start cooking real food?
Well, I think it's really important when you're starting out, particularly if you're transitioning your diet from one where perhaps you've been eating some more processed foods, convenience foods, takeaway, that you look at the things that are your favourite foods. So if your favourite food is like pizza or lasagna or fried chicken or something like that, that you actually learn to make a healthy whole food version of that and start there. Like, don't try and go from, if you're eating like mainstream foods and processed foods to like quinoa or something that you've never experienced before, because it's probably going to taste really, really weird to you. So start with things that are familiar and just learn how to make them with real food ingredients.
So when you say real food ingredients, what does that mean?
So for me, real foods are things that haven't been processed. So in my house, what I tend to have is I have like a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruit. We don't have a lot of dairy in our house, so I'll tend to use like coconut cream and coconut milks and nut milks instead of dairy milk. And I do eat a little bit of sheep cheese and goat cheese and things like that. So that'll be kind of my foundation. We don't eat a lot of grains either at home, because a lot of the way that our modern grains are processed, they don't have that many nutrients in them, So like I tend to use other things. Like, so we will have a small amount, but we try and eat like the most nutrient dense foods all the time. And there's so many ways that you can make them taste really healthy. Like when my husband, one of his favorite things is like fried chicken that I make, and like I've never had a guy that hasn't liked that. So they always like that. It feels like it's a naughty food, but you can make it so it's actually not. It's actually good for you.
And really good for, I guess, if you've got friends and family coming over, making familiar food so you can still eat healthily without them complaining that you're feeding them rabbit food.
Yeah, absolutely. And I find I've worked a lot with a lot of women who have families, and they say they really struggle to get their husbands or their kids to eat healthy food, because people have this perception that healthy food is all about a salad or something, and that's way too big of a transition and a jump for most people to make. So by creating things that are healthy versions of people's favorite foods, sometimes you don't even need to tell them that it's a healthy whole food version. They just think it's nice.
Yeah,
and delicious. So, yeah.
Awesome. So I wanted to go back to what you were saying about the grains.
Mm-hmm.
What Is there a reason why you particularly don't eat a lot of grains in your
Well, I
diet?
just find that, a lot of the grains that we have, like, we have white rice and white flour and things like that, and they're not really how they were traditionally used as whole foods. And I also find with a lot of the health problems that are emerging now, like particularly the massive increase in autoimmune diseases that we're seeing, a lot of people, have an underlying or precursor to an autoimmune condition and they don't even know it, that can be really, really aggravated by eating a diet high in grains. So my husband actually had an autoimmune disease last year, and when we found out that he was diagnosed with that, we pretty much removed all grains totally from our diet for about 6 months.
Wow.
He has a little bit of oats now, and it really was a major part of him being able to feel better. There's a lot of things that you can still use to make your favourite food. You can still make cakes, you can still make cupcakes, muffins, you can still make fish and chips without using wheat flour.
Yeah.
Like, it's just about learning a different way to do these things, and then people don't even know the difference.
Yeah, so things like coconut flour.
Yeah, like coconut flour is a great one. Like I use coconut flour, buckwheat flour as a lot as well, because buckwheat is actually a seed, not a grain.
Oh.
So it goes really well, like on a fried chicken or something like that. Buckwheat, the texture and taste of buckwheat marries really well with chicken, whereas like the coconut flour is lighter and it marries really well with fish. So.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So would you recommend for people to cut out grains from their diet, or is this just something that you found that works for you?
I think that it's something that people could give a try for themselves, and definitely I don't think it's a good idea to be eating the volume of them that we're eating, like having cereal for breakfast, a sandwich or a wrap for lunch, and then a pasta for dinner. By doing that, you're not getting variety in your diet, because probably all of those are wheat products. So you're eating wheat like 3 times a day, and it's just not enough variety. You want to make sure you're eating different things at your 3 meals each day, so you're getting a variety of the macro and the micronutrients that are in different foods, and this is going to give you a lot more energy. Also, if you are struggling with some health challenges or weight challenges, you could just try cutting out in particular wheat, but just really cutting down on your other grains or removing them for a month, and just observing how that works for you.
Yeah, I know. When I don't eat wheat, I feel so much better than when I do.
Yeah, and wheat's a really important one to try and have a look at what is going on with the amount of wheat in your diet and how that's making you feel. The modern wheat that it came to Australia in about the 70s. So the traditional form of wheat, it's called einkorn wheat. It had 12 chromosomes, and that's the wheat that they talk about that was around in biblical times. That was the kind of wheat that they used then. And modern wheat has 48 chromosomes. So,
Wow.
yeah.
So it's completely different.
It's completely different product. There's not that much difference in the chromosomes between humans and chimpanzees. So, it's a massive difference in what that is. And that's, we've seen the rise in celiac disease and autoimmune diseases, and all of these things probably, since the 60s and the 70s. And there has to be some underlying reasons for that. And, could this very hybridized version of wheat that was created by scientists be one of those reasons? That's something to, just experiment on yourself and see how your body feels different.
Okay, so what about if, let's say you've got a family of really fussy eaters, and you try sneaking in some of these healthy alternatives and they just won't go for it. Do you have any tips for working around that?
Well, I think the number one thing is to not tell them it's healthy. Don't tell them that you are like making this healthier version of what it is that you normally make for them. Just, present it, because sometimes I find particularly sometimes with husbands and kids, if you tell them it's healthy, it's automatically, I don't want to eat that.
Yeah.
I've seen it so many times. So it's just saying, like, I've made this new recipe and presenting it like that, and making sure that it is something that is familiar to what they're used to eating, but just a healthier version. So you don't want to go and just totally change what they're eating overnight, because it's too big of a leap for them. So just incremental changes. And I think also a really important thing is to use like fats in your cooking. Use butter, coconut oil, olive oil, things like this in your food, because it makes it taste good. If you try and make low-fat foods, they taste really terrible unless you load them with sugar. So having good fats in your food makes them really tasty, and that makes them appealing for people to eat, and it also makes people feel satisfied after they've eaten. So you want them to feel satisfied after they've eaten a meal. And you can always tempt them with dessert, like make a healthier type of dessert, a healthier type of treat, and have that. Well, if you finish your dinner with kids, you can have some of this healthy ice cream or a healthy cake afterwards. That's got some good things in it.
Yeah, great. That's a great tip, definitely. The mistake that lots of people make is that they think that healthy is low fat, and that's not the case, right?
That is absolutely not the case. I saw there was this great quote going around a while ago, and it says low fat equals chemical storm. That's pretty true, So if you've got these low fat foods and you look at the ingredients, there's a lot of numbers in there. There's probably a lot of things you don't even know what they are. So I think it's really important to look at the ingredients of food. If you don't know what the ingredients on something is, put it back on the shelf and leave it there. Because if you can't understand what an ingredient is, pretty good chance that it's been made in a chemical laboratory, and you don't want to put that inside your body.
Yeah, and if the ingredients list is really, really long as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely want to be able to recognise it all. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us today.
No problems.
I hope that helps a lot of people get started cooking more food in the kitchen. I know Nicole's got heaps and heaps of recipes on her website that are absolutely delicious. I think I've shared quite a few on my Facebook page because I make them quite often. So if you want to head to realfoodrealfast.com.au and definitely make some of her recipes. And you've got a taster menu.
I do. I've got a 3-day taster menu, which if you just leave me your email address, that will come straight out to you, and it's got 3 breakfasts and 3 dinners and a sweet treat in there. So you can, try out some real food options that are easy to make. They're really easy.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm not a whiz in the kitchen, and I've managed to make some of your recipes, so that's awesome.
Fantastic. I love it.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. And I'll make sure that all the links are in the video description below. Make sure you subscribe for new videos, and I'll see you next time. All right. Bye.
Thanks, Ellie. Bye.